Hello, children. Well, let's look at another verse today in the book of Jeremiah. However, first I'm going to show you where I am. See a car going by there, maybe a lot of noise, but I'm in Uncle Stephen and Aunt Kay's yard, right by a cherry tree. See the cherries? They're still green. You can see all the flowers and plants. Everything's so pretty. So, I am here in the corner, and I'm going to read a verse for you. First of all, I'll ask you a question. Do you like surprises? Do you like surprises? I bet you do. When do you get surprises? Do you remember two occasions when you get things and you wonder what's inside? What are they? Christmas, right? At Christmas time, under the tree, there's usually some boxes and different colored paper wrap and all of that, and some of them have your name on it, and you wonder, what is in there? What is in there? You love surprises. And then at birthdays, of course, birthday parties. Gabe just had a birthday the other day, and any number of you are having them this spring. So we all like surprises. Why do we like surprises? Well, that's the way God made us. And so this verse that I'm going to read talks about surprises as well. Listen, it's Jeremiah 33:3, and it says, "Call unto me, and I will answer thee, and show thee great and mighty things which thou knowest not." Okay, so those are the words that God spoke to Jeremiah. Jeremiah was a prophet. He was a preacher for the Lord. And right now, when he got this verse, he was in a little bit of a rough situation. He was in a prison. He was in the courtyard of a prison because the king, who he knew very well, the king was not happy with the messages that God was sending through Jeremiah. Jeremiah was just giving him what God said to say. And he was just preaching the word of God and telling him that an army was coming to attack the city because the people had been very sinful. And he said, I am going to judge the sin. So the best thing you can do is give in to the army that's attacking you. Just surrender and say, hey, here I am, and let them take you and they will be good to you. If you don't, if you fight them, if you resist and war against that army, it's going to go bad for you. So that was the message, and the king did not like that message at all. And he and primarily other princes, they put Jeremiah, they wanted to kill Jeremiah, but the king didn't want him dead. So he said, just lock him up and, keep him in a tied down place in a courtyard, and don't let him get away. And so that's where Jeremiah was. So when Jeremiah gets this word from God, notice what he says. God tells him, call unto me, and I'll answer you. And I'll show you great and mighty things that you don't know anything about. Those are surprises. Those are things that God said, I will do. You have no idea what they'll be, but I'll do them. What did he have to do? Hang on, I've got an alarm I've got to turn off on my hand here. Sorry. There we go. What is it that Jeremiah had to do? Call on God. That's all he had to do, was pray and say, Lord, show me something. Show me something great and mighty that I've never seen before or never had before. And so the Lord told him to do something that was very simple. And you know what? That very same promise is for you and me. God tells us, call, pray to me, and I will answer you. He's not telling us to climb a high mountain or to make a very long journey somewhere, as many religions, many people live in places and religions where they have to do tremendous things to try and get their God to answer them. Well, he never will, but they do these huge walks and pay tons of money and all to try and get their God to answer. And God, the true God, says, no, all you have to do is call on me, and I'll answer you. And I'll show you great and wonderful things. And that's what he told Jeremiah. And he did. And So many years ago, before any of you were born, back in the year 2000, that's 25 years ago, I remember reading this and thinking, you know what? That's not very hard. I could call on God. I wonder if I called on God if He would do surprising things for me. And so I began to call on the Lord every day and read this verse. And you know what? Look at this. This is a piece of paper that is printed. It has a whole bunch of columns on it. You're not going to be able to see anything. I mean, you're not going to be able to read anything. But see that on both sides? It has over 700 entries of things that God has surprised me with over the last 25 years. And I haven't written them all down. I just write them down when I remember. I type them and then I get it to print very, very, very small. There's over 760 things that God surprised me with. Most of them were good things, wonderful, pleasant surprises. And all that shows is that God said, you call and I'll answer. And so I began to call and God answered. Many, 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 many times. He still does. And so I tell you, you're very small, you're very young right now, but you can call on God because it doesn't take a lot of money, it doesn't take any money, and it doesn't take a lot of schooling and education. Anybody can call on God. And so that's what He wants us to do, to learn to call, to learn to pray, and He will answer, and He will give us divine surprises. That means surprises from God. Okay? What do you think? Maybe you should start a list. Get yourself a piece of paper, and anytime God surprises you with something, well, write it down. Why not? You'll get a lot more than I did, I'm sure. Okay, God bless you. Love you much. Goodbye.